There comes a moment in every chosen one's life where silence itself begins to speak. This is no ordinary silence. It's heavy, filled with presence, divine urgency, and an unexplainable pull. It doesn't shout, yet it cannot be ignored. This is the inner call. It may begin in childhood, as a strange awareness that you are different. While others move through life with ease, you find yourself wrestling with unseen things. You feel watched, not in fear, but in accountability. The call doesn't always appear as a voice. Sometimes it's a persistent stirring, a recurring dream, a sudden weight in the chest when you see injustice or spiritual emptiness around you. You sense that you are being marked for something greater. This inner vision does not flatter your ego, it breaks it. It humbles you before it uplifts you. You are not called because you are perfect, but because you are willing, and yet being willing isn't always joyful. It's exhausting. You cry when no one sees. You question your own sanity at times, but the more you resist the call, the louder it becomes. You may try to drown it in distractions, in friends, in ambition, or in sin, but it keeps coming back. When you lie on your bed at night, that soft but relentless whisper pierces through the noise. You were not made for this. The vision of who you are meant to become begins to haunt your present self. This vision has consequences. Your life begins to change. Friends begin to fall away, not by hatred, but by distance. You stop fitting into conversations that once amused you. You begin to see through lies that used to charm you. You aren't being arrogant. You're being transformed. The old life begins to taste bland, even toxic. The spirit within you is reshaping your appetite. The dreams you used to chase now feel childish, even dangerous. The call comes with clarity, but it also comes with separation. It can be a lonely path, but understand this: loneliness for a chosen one is not abandonment, it is sanctification. The vision will begin to guide your decisions. It won't always offer explanations. You will simply know you shouldn't go to that place. You will feel a deep unrest when others feel peace. You'll feel drawn to ancient truths, old prayers, sacred rites, even if you never grew up with them. You'll wake up at strange hours, compelled to pray, to reflect, to weep. You'll be struck by verses of scripture that feel like they were written just for you, and you'll wonder, why me, why now? But the real question is not why you were chosen. The real question is, will you answer? Answering the call requires courage. It demands the death of convenience. You can no longer live on autopilot. Everything now must be intentional. Your words must be seasoned with salt. Your eyes must guard what they see. Your ears must reject gossip and filth. Your body must become an altar not to your own pleasure, but to the Holy One who marked you. This is not legalism, this is love. The chosen one disciplines themselves not to earn the call, but because the call has already been given, and it is sacred. There will be times when the vision dims. You'll feel forgotten. You'll doubt that the call ever happened. You'll be tempted to go back to what is easy, and yet, every time you try to walk away, something inside pulls you back. You are not free to go back to ordinary. That is both the weight and the wonder of being chosen. Even when you are faithless, the one who called you is faithful. He does not revoke his call, but he does wait for your response. And he waits with mercy. Eventually, the inner vision becomes more than a feeling. It becomes direction. You will begin to see the steps ahead, often just one at a time. You won't be able to map your whole future, but you'll know exactly what to do next. That is the way of the chosen. They walk by trust, not by sight. Your obedience in the small things will lead to larger assignments. Your hidden prayers will prepare you for visible battles. You won't need to promote yourself. Heaven will do it at the right time. Your job is to stay aligned, and when the inner vision is fully grown within you, you will begin to recognize others like you. You'll spot them in a crowd, not because they boast, but because they carry the same fire in their eyes. You'll speak without words, you'll know, and together, silently, faithfully, you will carry out your assignment. The world will not understand you. Many will misunderstand you, but the one who called you sees all. You are not alone. You are not confused. You are not mistaken. You are chosen. There is a resilience in the chosen that cannot be explained by personality, upbringing, or training. It is not the product of positive thinking or self-help books. It is born in the furnace of suffering. Unusual resilience often begins to show itself when everything falls apart. Relationships collapse, finances fail, betrayal cuts deep, and even your own thoughts seem to turn against you. Yet, in the midst of it all, something inside refuses to die. You might weep, you might tremble, but you do not collapse. Instead of bitterness, a strange clarity arises. A voice within you, faint but undeniable, says, "Stand up again," and you do, again and again. Not because it's easy, but because something greater than your pain compels you to rise. This kind of strength isn't loud. It doesn't boast. In fact, most people won't even notice it until much later, when they realize you endured what would have destroyed them. You won't always feel strong. Often you feel broken, misunderstood, tired beyond words. But that's the mystery. Even when you feel weakest, you still find the will to press on. The resilience of the chosen one isn't the absence of struggle. It's the refusal to let struggle define them. This refusal becomes a spiritual defiance. You don't deny your wounds, but you refuse to let your wounds become your identity. And in that refusal, you grow stronger. Over time, people will begin to ask, "How did you survive that?" And your answer won't be glamorous. You'll say, "I prayed, I waited, I stayed." You didn't always know what the outcome would be, but you knew you couldn't quit. There were nights when your prayers had no words, only tears. There were mornings when getting out of bed was an act of warfare. But someone carried you. This is unusual resilience. You are sustained by a strength not your own. Even your moments of doubt serve to refine your faith. You learn not to trust in your emotions, but in the quiet, unchanging truth of your calling. You become like a tree in winter. Others may think you are dead because the leaves are gone, but what they can't see is that your roots are growing deeper, stronger, reaching toward unseen waters. You are not being destroyed, you are being fortified. The storms you face do not shake your foundation. They test it and reveal its integrity, and when spring returns, and it will, those who counted you out will be astonished by the fruit that emerges from your life. The fruit of endurance, the fruit of maturity, the fruit of a faith that has been tested and proven. Unusual resilience also changes your posture toward others. You begin to see suffering differently. You no longer dismiss or judge those in pain. Instead, you reach out. You recognize the same battle in their eyes. Because you've endured, you now carry a healing presence. Your survival becomes someone else's hope. You may never preach a sermon, but your life itself becomes a testimony. People are drawn to your peace, to your perseverance, even if they can't explain it. And when they ask, you simply smile and say, "Grace kept me standing." However, resilience also invites greater testing. With each new level of spiritual authority comes new opposition. Do not be surprised when the enemy targets you more intensely. You've shown that you won't break easily, so now the attacks become more cunning, more subtle. But you are not naive anymore. You've learned how to wait in silence. You've learned how to pray without words. You've learned that when you are at the end of yourself, heaven begins to work. This is how the chosen are trained, not in comfort, but in trial. And though the path of resilience is hard, it is also glorious, because every time you endure, you become more like the one who called you. His strength is made perfect in your weakness. His presence is clearest when all other lights go out. And each time you survive what should have broken you, your soul grows more anchored, more settled, more unshakable. You begin to walk with a calm that confuses your enemies. You don't panic like you used to. You don't beg like you used to. You trust, and that trust is your shield. In the end, unusual resilience isn't about merely surviving. It's about being transformed. What was meant to crush you becomes the very soil that strengthens your roots. What was intended as a tomb becomes a womb. You emerge, not bitter, but wise, not arrogant, but deeply aware of who you are and whose you are. And when you meet others who are being crushed under the weight of life, you won't look away. You will step in, extend a hand, and say, "I've been where you are." You will not be buried. You are being built. And in that moment, your resilience becomes a resurrection for someone else. There is something unique in the heart of the chosen one that cannot be fabricated or taught. It is deep empathy, the kind that pierces through surface emotion and enters the very soul of another person. It's not just that you feel what others feel, it's that you carry their burdens as if they were your own. You walk into a room and sense the unspoken pain. You look into a person's eyes and feel their silent suffering even when they smile. This sensitivity is not weakness, it's divine awareness. It's the spiritual radar of someone chosen to protect. You are drawn not to power or recognition, but to those who are overlooked, misjudged, and wounded. Your spirit leans toward the broken before your mind can even register it. That is not accident. That is calling. The chosen one often experiences a life of empathy not because they were raised in comfort, but because they themselves were wounded. From an early age, they tasted rejection, isolation, abuse, or neglect. They learned the language of pain through personal experience, and instead of growing hard and cold, they became tender, wounded healers. Their suffering did not make them bitter, but rather it broke them open. It gave them a sacred lens, a holy discomfort with injustice and cruelty. When others look away, the chosen look closer. When others mock, the chosen intercede. There is a fire in them, not of rage, but of righteous compassion. This deep empathy naturally leads to protection. The chosen do not simply feel, they act. They step between the vulnerable and the threat. Sometimes silently, sometimes with boldness, they become a shield. Whether it's a bullied child, a forgotten elder, or a spiritually lost soul, the chosen instinctively place themselves in the gap. And they do this not for applause, but because their conscience leaves them no choice, even when it costs them reputation, relationships, or resources. They protect. Their mercy is not passive, it is fierce. It is the kind of mercy that disrupts evil and demands justice, even if it must come at great personal cost. But protection doesn't always come in dramatic gestures. Often it comes in subtle, sacrificial ways, listening when no one else will, praying behind the scenes, showing up consistently when others fade away. The chosen understand that sometimes the greatest defense is presence, being there when everyone else has left, staying calm when chaos rises, speaking truth in love even when it shakes the room. These acts may never be celebrated publicly, but in the spiritual realm they shift atmospheres. They interrupt cycles of despair. They echo eternity. This role, however, can be emotionally exhausting. Because the chosen feel so deeply, they are often drained by the very people they serve. They give and give until they have nothing left. They weep in secret, asking God, "Who will protect me?" And the answer comes, not always in the way they expect, but it comes. The one who gave them the gift of empathy also gives them rest, renewal, and protection. The chosen learn to go to the secret place, the hidden altar where their own hearts can be restored. There, they are reminded that they are not saviors, they are vessels. The weight is not theirs to carry alone. Over time, the chosen learn to discern not every burden is theirs to take on, not every cry is theirs to answer. Empathy must be paired with wisdom, or it becomes manipulation. Some will try to exploit the chosen's kindness. They will take without giving, drain without replenishing. But maturity teaches the chosen how to set boundaries, how to guard their heart without closing it, how to say no without guilt. They learn that true protection also involves protecting themselves, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, so they can continue to fulfill their calling long term. The most remarkable thing about this deep empathy is its endurance. Even after betrayal, disappointment, and loss, the chosen continue to love, not blindly but bravely. They believe in the power of redemption. They see past what people are and catch glimpses of what they could be. This vision fuels their commitment. It keeps them soft in a hard world. It allows them to sit with sinners, walk with wanderers, and stand beside the suffering without needing recognition or reward. Because for the chosen, love is not a strategy, it's a reflex. It's who they are. And so, this combination of deep empathy and the instinct to protect makes the chosen ones rare and powerful in the spiritual realm. They are both gentle and strong. They are both compassionate and courageous. They are the quiet intercessors, the unseen warriors, the faithful friends. They are the ones who stay when others run. They are the ones who speak up when silence becomes dangerous. And though the world may never fully understand them, heaven knows their name. They are not here by accident. They are here to guard what is holy, defend what is sacred, and love those the world forgets.